Houston. He had a fibula, so he'll be out for a while, obviously. Big V, you know, could be out for a little bit. We'll know a lot more really in the next couple of days here. But Demo, he's kind of in that, I guess, a little bit of the boat of day to day. And those are really the three right now, you know. So.
IR possibility?
I don't think so. But we're just gonna have to see how it responds.
You want Decker?
No, I mean he's improving, but there again, we'll know a lot more over the next couple of days. He's gotten better and better every day. It's just a matter of, man, you know, can he get back in time for this one? And then we're going into a short week after that with Green Bay. So, but he's improving, which is encouraging.
There were a ton of guys that had to leave that game at some point, both sides of the.
I'm sorry. Start again.
Just a ton of guys that had to leave that game. It just felt, a lot more than normal. Was it just the physicality of the game? Just throwing it out there, did the new turf have anything to do with that?
No, I don't believe that. But look, I don't. You guys know injuries. I mean, you can go and everything's good, and you get out pretty healthy, and then all of a sudden, man, they come on, and you get the bug, and we got a rash of them yesterday. So that's kind of the ebbs and flows of a season.
Particularly physical game. I mean, it seemed like that was maybe part of it.
Yeah, it was physical, and we knew that. That's a physical team. We knew that, and yeah, they did. I mean, they were, they came out and, man, they played hard. They played physical. They had a good game plan, and it just, we got some injuries out of it.
Just having a day to reflect or a night to reflect. The 4th and 2 that you went for that you didn't convert, and at the end of the game, those plays. Do you have any thoughts, I guess, on what you would have done different?
No, I feel good about. I mean, look, I don't feel good because we lost, but I don't. And I go back. I knew I wanted to play that game a certain way early, but also knew, look, if it doesn't quite work out that way, then we go the long road, and you got to win it at the end, and we weren't able to do that. So, but I don't feel I don't feel like I should have done it different necessarily. So, that was my mindset going into the game. I'm good with the way we functioned at the end. I'd like to get that first down, at the very end of the game. Then you call timeout, and you got plenty of time to continue to function. It didn't work out. And but at the end of the day, we got an opportunity again to take it into overtime, and we just couldn't get it done.
The pass rush, second consecutive game with a lot of pressure, maybe, but not getting a lot of hands on the quarterback. Is there something that needs to change with the rush plan or whatever to get home, or maybe even the marriage of the rushing coverage and how that operates?
Well, I think there's a number of things that come up in there, and I know there's a lot of things I felt like just from transition into rush, some of this play pass, now we're from reading the run into pass. Man, we've got to transition much quicker. Our urgency has to go up there, and our violence has to go up to shed those blockers. That'll go a long way. And then just there again is the discipline to just do your job and trust the guy next to you is going to do his. And perimeter, we can't rush high. We got to close this in on the quarterback. We rush high and we don't have somebody that can cover, we're going to be in trouble. So, there's just a number of those things that showed up, or then you get one guy who's doing it right, a couple of guys, and the next guy's not, and we give him a void. So we got to get back to the discipline of just doing your job, transition off a rush. And the other thing is, there's a number of these that came up, and a guy's got a one-on-one. He's got to win. We're getting chipped on this side. You may be getting chipped. You're getting double with the center guard. This guy's got to win, and we're not winning our one-on-ones. And you could really say some of that on the back end, too. The guys that have their one-on-ones, we got to win those. And, and the other thing I think just defensively is, man, we need our most reliable players to be reliable. That was a big thing that came out of that game. And but look, it certainly looks and tastes a lot worse when you lose that game. But ultimately, you could argue we spotted them 14 points on offense, and that's hard. That's hard on your defense.
When you say that you need your best players to be reliable, do you feel some weren't as reliable as they could have been?
I just expect more. I expect more reliability out of those guys. They you know, they know who they are, and you know, we hold them to high standards.
Sometimes you learn more about yourself in a loss than you do in a win. Last week you said you didn't learn anything, but it validated what you knew.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything after this loss?
Now, look, here's the one thing I did know is when we got down 10 points after throwing a pick six, man, there was nobody was frantic. Nobody was, the sky's falling. Everybody just business as usual. We went right back down there, scored a touchdown. Our defense went 3 and out. We get the ball back, and then we take it into overtime. So that was, you know, look, that's encouraging. We know what we're capable of. We know that we can get ourselves back in any game with a chance to win it, and that's important. But, man, we got to close that out. We got to close it out.
Are you liking what you're seeing out of?
I'll come back to you, Danny.
Are you liking what you're seeing out of Gibbs, and with Montgomery out for a little bit, would we expect to see more and more out of him?
Man, Montgomery, listen, take away the fumble, you know, and golly, I thought he played outstanding. He is such a versatile back. He's explosive, and he talk about being reliable. He's very reliable. But it's just, you know, that fumble leaves a bad taste in your mouth, which will get cleaned up. He will too. He takes that stuff personal. But he's been big for us. I mean, he's a big piece of what we are and what we have offensively. He really is. And so, yeah, with that, I still see it being by committee if Demo can't go, but certainly Gibbs is going to get more opportunities. And, you know, there again, the more he got a little bit more, and there's some plays he made, and then there's a lot he left out. And some of that's part of being a rookie. You know, he'll get better from those, more exposure he gets, and we need him to grow, and he will.
You said yesterday after the game, Dan, that maybe we need to eat a little humble pie this week. Can you elaborate on that?
No, look, I don't want to turn it into something more than it's not. I just think that, man, sometimes nobody likes to lose. We don't like to lose, but, man, I do think it centers your focus, and it gets you back to what's important. And what's important is nothing but what's in front of you, the opponent in front of you, how you play your own game, your own execution, and not worrying about anything else that doesn't deal with that. And I think that's what a loss does, man. It forces you to do that. And you don't want to have to go through a whole season where it's like, oh, we got to be refocused. So, but, hey, we got to get back to work. We're going to have some guys down. And next guy's got to step up. And we expect him to do that. So.
He's got 5 receptions through the first 2 games. What's leading to his
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
5 receptions through the first 2 games. What's leading to his consistency so far?
He's another one of those guys who just quietly gets better. You know, you don't always notice it in practice, but he works extremely hard. He takes it serious, and I think there's a lot of it that, man, when he's out there on game day, there's a lot less stress for him than he is when he's out there with the coaches. You know, he's getting coached up pretty hard, and I think it for him. And the other thing is, I know this, because he's shown it after 2 weeks, and he did it again yesterday. He is, critical moments, he is highly competitive. Like, that's a guy you can just tell. And he is not going to cower from that, you know, those moments. He's a guy who wants to make a play. He wants to make a block. He wants to, and that, man, you can win with those guys. Now, he's still a rookie. He's got to be better in the run game. But he is showing up. What you're seeing is true.
Turnovers, takeaways, you guys were so good, you know, the second half of
Yeah.
last year with that. And I think you're -3 right now, a lot of it yesterday, but also have dropped a couple potential interceptions. Just how do you generate more takeaways, I guess?
Yeah, to me, the takeaways come from the picks will come. And look, everybody says you got to catch the ones that come to you, but to me, it's more about us forcing them. And the way we hit, we bite the ball, we got to get strips. We have to make a conscious effort. And look, these are things we work in practice, but there again, man, if you want it, you got to emphasize it. So what we're emphasizing is not being emphasized. So we got to go back, and there's got to be a different way to do it. I've got to do that with the coaches. The coaches have to do it to the players, and it can't just be a go through the motions. But that's the easiest way. You have to force takeaways. The picks will come.
And then offensively, just, I don't know, you just chalk that up to one game? I mean, uncharacteristic, I guess, of some of those.
No, it's unfortunately, it's a little bit like how we started last year, man. It becomes contagious in the wrong way. And we got to stop the bleeding and get back to where, man, everybody's got to think of that. The football is, man, your life depends on it. You got to think of it that way. Your teammates' life depends on it. And it is the most important thing that we have on game day. At all costs, you must protect the football. And there again, just saying it's not going to do it. And we have to emphasize it for those players. And, until we get that cleaned up, it's going to be a hard road, but I know we will. I know we can. I know we will emphasize it. I know we can emphasize it a different way. And look, offensively, man, we did some really good things. We were honestly, we were much more efficient, more productive than we were against Kansas City. God, there was so much good stuff on that tape, but those turnovers just, man, it just puts a bad taste in your mouth, and it's hard. It's hard to win in this league.
I think the defense took a step back in yesterday's game, and maybe is there a little bit of an acclimation period with some different guys in the starting defense?
Well, look, I think it's anytime you lose, you as a team, you took a step back. And so there was a number of things we did really well against Kansas City and a number of things we didn't do well that didn't bite us. And this was a totally different opponent than Kansas City. Totally different style, totally different scheme. And, and so we didn't handle that scheme well consistently. Now, we had a number of stops in there, and really, I felt like, now it's a huge part of it, but we talk about starting fast, and we didn't do that. They drove length of field, they get a score, but you start with a score, you end with a score. And that's really those are the two that really, that's the frustrating, because there was a lot of good stuff in between there that I thought we did pretty well. But look, we got a ton of room for improvement. I say it all the time. We're in a race to improve. We're in a race with everybody that we're getting ready to play. We're in a race with everybody in our division too. How fast can we improve?
Despite the mistakes, you're still only one play from flipping that game. Mm-hmm. It seemed like a couple years, or even last year, it seemed to be more than that, 3-4 plays. Does a young team need to learn how to deal with that? Or what gets you over the hump in that situation?
Yeah, look, I think every team is different, and every year is different. And we have a huge nucleus that we had from last year. But there again, we are new, and we just started the season. That was our, we go on the road, first road game. Now we're at home, first home game. And I think us collectively, we just gotta, hey man, we get in a moment like that and we make enough mistakes to where it's gonna be hard to win. You still gotta find a way to win that game. And I think that just there again takes a little bit of, just a little bit more urgency in our department, and everybody just buckling down. And instead of being in this such a frenzy to, I'm gonna make a play on my own, man, make a play inside the scheme, inside the system that we've given you, because your teammate will do the same thing. He will play his keys. He will be disciplined. You be disciplined, and let the plays come to you. They'll be there, but we can't play rat ball. We can't go out on our own, and just trust what we're doing. We'll be fine. Okay, thanks.